Today, I'm diving into the world's most powerful engines. Ranging from the most powerful engine with one cylinder, through every cylinder count, all the way to the biggest cylinder count that the road has ever seen. We'll quickly learn that more cylinders doesn't always mean more power. Class is in session, let's talk about some seriously powerful engines. Let's start at the beginning of the engine layout tree. The most powerful one-cylinder engine on the road comes from, you've maybe guessed it, Ducati. They're on a serious run these days. Their Super Quadro Mono single-cylinder engine puts out 85 horsepower. Now, that may not seem like a runaway success, but actually, that's really impressive. You think back to a video I did a couple of years ago, I looked at Cosworth's F1 Mule engine. It was a single cylinder developed from the V10 era. That thing was revving to 19,000 RPM and put out 90 horsepower. Yes, the Ducati engine is double the displacement of that Cosworth Mule, but still, 85 horsepower in a road-going vehicle with one cylinder is insane. Being a Ducati engine, of course, it's a bit of a looker too. Let's hear it. The most powerful two-cylinder engine on the road, it's another crown for Ducati with their Panigale 1299R. That engine with two cylinders is putting out 205 horsepower. That's over 100 horsepower per cylinder naturally aspirated. The more research I do, I'm realizing that a lot of bike engines are much better than car engines in a hell of a lot of categories. The first two rungs on the ladder have been bike engines because cars have very much moved away from single and twin engines. The thing is, cars these days are so much heavier, and a one or two cylinder engine would have to work really hard to hulk around that mass. 3 and 4 cylinder engines are now the go-to engine layout even for entry-level cars. 1s and 2s also vibrate a lot more than 3s and 4s because they simply don't have other cylinders helping to counteract their reciprocation. Saying that, put a single or a twin into a bike that weighs less than 200 kilograms and a lot of these troubles disappear. A shout out has to go to the Volkswagen XL1 and the Morgan three-wheeler. They are cars that did have two-cylinder engines, but creating 47 and 83 horsepower respectively, they're nowhere near the mark. Once we get to 3 cylinders, bikes end up losing a bit of puff and cars take over. The most powerful 3-cylinder engine on the road is Toyota's G16E GTS engine that you'll find in the GR Corolla. This is a 1.6 litre 3-cylinder turbo engine that creates 300 horsepower, 100 horsepower per cylinder. 1.6 litres for a 3-pot is quite chunky, but even then, creating 300 horsepower from 3 cylinders is not easy. Toyota has set about strengthening this engine through a girdle for the crankshaft, and it's got some pretty trick pistons too. They are called hyper-eutectic cast pistons, which is essentially an aluminium alloy that has a lot of silicon in it. That means they're stronger and also more resistant to wear, and they have a lower rate of thermal expansion. That means Toyota can really tighten up the tolerances within this engine for power. This amount of power being made by this small an engine means there's a lot of heat going on. While a lot of performance engines will have one single oil jet underneath the piston to keep it cool, Toyota have gone for 3 per cylinder to really manage the temperatures going on within that small block. Add in a CNC ported cylinder head and a ball bearing turbocharger for better response, and you have a proper supercar killing engine and car combination. Around 400 horsepower has been seen with stock pistons, and some motorsport nutters have modified this 3-pot to be over 800 horsepower. Now, I can hear some of you already writing a comment. What about Koenigsegg's amazing TFG engine, the tiny friendly giant? That was a 3-cylinder engine that was twin turbo and was supposed to create 600 horsepower in the Gemera. Well, the fact of the matter is, that engine hasn't actually come to fruition. It's never made it into a car. Koenigsegg put out a press release recently moving the Gemera on to their V8 twin turbo engine. So as it stands, the 3-cylinder engine is just on a shelf somewhere. Whether that is because they came up against some sort of tech issue, which wouldn't be a surprise at all considering some of the stats involved with this thing, or whether it was just pressure from customers who said, we're buying a super GT car, we don't want it powered by a 3-cylinder, can we have the V8? Who knows? But whatever the situation is, that 3-cylinder engine has never been in a car running, as far as I'm aware. So, until the TFG sees the light of day in an actual car, it doesn't make this list. Interestingly, Toyota, in its next move, is adding a cylinder. They're taking their 3-cylinder G16E and making it a 4-pot for the next load of GR performance cars. That's to get away from some of the nasty vibrations that they had to deal with the 3-cylinder, and also the amount of software needed to keep that thing from essentially blowing itself to pieces. By adding a cylinder, they're looking at around a 400 horsepower 4-cylinder, and that puts it right into the firing line of the Mercedes M139, the most powerful road-going 4-cylinder engine. This thing has ruled the 4-cylinder roost for quite a while now and has peaked at 469 horsepower in the C63. We're now up at 117 horsepower per cylinder. It manages that because it has some serious big power engineering within this 4-cylinder block. To start with, it is a closed deck block. That means the water jackets are minimized in size. Instead of having them wrapping right round the cylinder, they are instead smaller pockets either side of the cylinder to maximize the strength of the block so you can turn up the boost and maximize horsepower. The turbo is twin scroll. That's tech that I associate more with BMW's straight sixes, but this turbo has it attached to a 4-pot. Twin scroll means it has essentially 2 inlets. That reduces the effect of exhaust pulses by keeping the airflow into the turbo more consistent. That reduces turbo lag massively and keeps the engine within its power band. The fuel enters the combustion chamber both through direct and port fuel injection to keep the advantages of both, but also counteract the downsides of either system. Port injection keeps the air-fuel mixture entering the engine cool and dense, as well as cleaning the inlet valves from getting caked in carbon. Direct injection guards against premature ignition of the air-fuel mixture. It reduces the combustion chamber's temperature to allow for a higher compression ratio for better power and efficiency. A few cars have combined the two, namely the Ford GT, Lexus IS 500 and the V10 RA. So this plucky little 4-cylinder joins that illustrious group. A shout out has to go to the Jaguar CX-75 with its 500 horsepower twin-charged 4-cylinder engine. So an inline 4 that has a turbo and a supercharger. If this thing had made it to production, it would have easily taken this 4-cylinder crown, but sadly, it stayed as a concept. Jaguar felt that they couldn't afford to put this supercar into production. I've been told 8 engines were made and they're now sitting somewhere within JLR. It would be great to get them out at some point. Our motorsport shout out has to go to the 1.5 litre BMW M12, the most powerful engine Formula One has ever seen. 1,500 horsepower in qualifying trim, and that engine would just be ripped out and replaced with a race engine for Sunday.
Well, you now watch the tremendously powerful BMW-powered Benetton.
Is there any surprise that turbochargers were banned from Formula One? Until recently. The engines we're talking about today are at the top of their game. To keep you at the top of your game, I suggest getting some Holy down you. Filming cars up and down the country and ending up at numerous service stations, my energy drink intake has become really bad. I'm not fully fixed, but Holy Energy has definitely got me on the road to energy drink salvation. But today's not about me. Let's ask the Swallows guys and girls what they want and dish them out. I'm gonna grab Shane because I know he likes a Holy. He's working on this beautiful XFR, 5 litre supercharged. It's almost certainly getting timing chains. Shane, flavour?
Strawberry, please.
Good choice.
Strawberry Shark. Tell me what you think.
Oh, it's actually really nice.
Nicer than that timing chain.
Oh, way nicer than the timing chain.
Thought so.
This is actually really quite surprising. It really does.
Yeah, Jake referred to it as lush.
Yeah, it's pretty lush to be fair.
Yeah.
See Holy as a healthier alternative to normal energy drinks. The Starter Pack Deluxe comes with 57 chassis of Holy Energy, Hydration, Milkshake and Iced Tea, as well as a standard Holy shaker, or you can upgrade to these awesome looking thermo shakers.
If you believe in New Year, New Me, and you're a big energy drink person, definitely check out Holy, give it a go. Use my discount code Fernie5 to get £5 off your first order, or Fernie to get 10% off any order after that. Thank you to Holy for sponsoring today's video, and by checking them out, you will be massively supporting my YouTube channel. Let's get back to some engines. I love a 5-cylinder engine because they're essentially half a V10, but they're a bit of a blind spot for the car industry. They're a bit of a weird one in this list. There have been so few 5-cylinder engines made that no one's really taken them from factory and sent them to the moon. The most powerful 5-cylinder engine on the road is Audi's 2.5 litre TFSI, but weirdly, the most powerful iteration from factory doesn't come from Audi. The KTM Crossbow GTXR takes that engine and tunes it up to 500 horsepower, which outdoes the RS3 and TTRS from the mothership. Donkervoort also have a 500 horsepower version of that engine in their F22, showing that the Audi 5-pot is clearly a go-to powertrain for smaller European manufacturers due to its flexibility and engine power. If you look at the aftermarket for this FSI engine, 500 horsepower is an absolute walk in the park. Having that extra cylinder over a 4-cylinder, that extra real estate means you can spread the horsepower over more cylinders and therefore crank up the boost. Some people have taken these things north of 1,000 horsepower. In an all-wheel drive car, that will be an absolute weapon down a drag strip. Our motorsport shout out goes to the Audi 90 IMSA GTO. Such a good looking car. They wrangled that 5-pot up to over 1,000 horsepower. Sick wheel covers as well. I'm not gonna lie, the 6-cylinder King did take me a bit by surprise. I thought it would be a straight 6, seeing as that engine layout is so sought after with aftermarket tuners. But no, the most powerful 6-cylinder engine from factory is in the back of this thing. The 911 991 GT2 RS with its 691 horsepower twin-turbo flat 6 takes the crown. Did you know that this is Ben Collins' favourite car to drive ever? The GT2 was always essentially a rear-wheel drive version of the 911 Turbo, but with the GT2 RS, Porsche took it to a whole other level, to a place that they've never been to since. Ben said the chassis is the best of the bunch. The aero keeps the rear down and the front turning sharp, but what I'm concerned about is that legendary Porsche flat 6. The 911 has used this flat 6 engine layout since ever, but this one is the pick of the bunch, even compared to the supercar smiting Turbo S of this generation. It has bigger turbos, bigger intercoolers, and a water spray for those intercoolers to reduce intake temps, as well as its own unique titanium exhaust system to reduce back pressure. All of this amounts to 110 horsepower more than the Turbo S, but all going through just the rear wheels. 0 to 60, 2.7, 211 miles an hour. This thing was an absolute animal, and as I say, Porsche hasn't gone to this level ever since. There are plenty of 1,000 horsepower plus aftermarket straight sixes and V6s out there, but it's Porsche with their flat six that had the guts to tune their engine the highest from factory. The random 6-cylinder shoutout has to go to the XJ220S. That thing, back in the 90s, was tuned to 680 horsepower. It almost took the crown. That made this version of the XJ220 a genuine 220 mile an hour plus car. They reckon this thing could do 225 back in the day. The motorsport shoutout has to go to Honda's Turbo V6 that was in the back of the MP44 in the 1988 season. Tuned to around 1350 horsepower, this thing won 15 out of 16 races with Prost and Senna behind the wheel. Legendary car. The V8 is definitely the most versatile engine on this list. It's packaged small enough that it can fit in a lot of cars. It's relatively balanced by having a decent enough cylinder count so they can cancel each other out, and it's got enough displacement that you can create big power. The most powerful V8 engine on our roads today is a relatively new engine on the block, the Hennessy Fury. This thing, running E85 fuel, apparently puts out 2,031 horsepower. That's absolutely ridiculous. It's got displacement on its side, 6.6 litres. It's got boost on its side, 2 turbochargers with 76mm compressor wheels on it. In the car world, those are enormous. This engine will need to have serious fuel injectors flooding fuel into the cylinders to keep up with the amount of air that this engine is sucking in. Shout out goes to the Ultima GTR 720. By developing 720 horsepower, it is comfortably the most powerful naturally aspirated V8 road car. Our motorsport shout out goes to the Nissan R90CK. When its turbo wastegate failed, it overboosted to 1100 horsepower in 1990 during qualifying at Le Mans, and it comfortably set the lap record, taking pole position by 6 seconds. Like 5-cylinder engines, there haven't been that many V10 engines made, but my god, do they make up for their lack of numbers. The most powerful V10 engine ever made for the road is the 8.4 litre Chrysler engine found in the Dodge Viper ACR. One of these is in my top 10 dream car list. It was essentially the Mustang GTD recipe 10 years before Ford had a go. A monstrous 8.4 litre engine that started as a Chrysler truck engine, but it has 10 cylinders combined with all of that aero, that enormous rear wing. Putting out 645 horsepower, it eclipses the LFA, the Hurricane STO, and my beloved Carrera GT. That horsepower, combined with the aero, means this thing has a genuinely impressive top gear lap time, a 1:15.1. That's the same as a V8 Atom and a 600 LT. This enormous V10 has always had displacement on its side. In the first gen Viper, it was 8 litres, putting out 400 horsepower, and then it's crept up in power throughout the years, ending up with that full 8.4 and 645. As well as the displacement increasing, it's also benefited from better electronics and better materials as the decades have gone by. A shout out has to go to the Lamborghini V10, a true icon of the tuning world. They've proven to be unbelievably strong and boostable, sometimes past 2,500 horsepower. There's actually a specific top speed car somewhere in Spain that has done 278 miles an hour with a Hurricane chassis. That thing must be pretty sketchy to drive at those speeds. Motorsport shout out? I don't think I need to say anything. We're in the big leagues now, 12 cylinders, and if you've been a subscriber of the channel from the start, you know exactly what engine takes this crown. The most powerful 12-cylinder engine on the road is the Quadturbo V12, 7-litre quad turbo. The engineers that built that thing, Italtecnica, have got it running right now at 1500 horsepower, but early next year, and according to their simulations, it will do over 2000 horsepower. I'm not going to go too much more into it. If you want to check out that engine in all of its glory, check out that video after this one. A shout out has to go to the most powerful naturally aspirated V12, and that is in the Aston Martin Vulcan. 7 litres with 0 turbos and over 800 horsepower. Considering that V12 started out as the Ford Duratec V6 in the Mondeo, that is one hell of an engine development story. Our motorsport shout out goes to another Aston, the Valkyrie LMH, with its 6.5 litre naturally aspirated V12 in 2025. How is that still allowed? I reckon that car is going to come good in 2026 in the WEC, so look out for that 11,000 RPM V12. We can skip 13, 14 and 15 and end up at the biggest cylinder count that we have on our roads today. The most powerful 16-cylinder engine on the road is of course in the back of a Bugatti, specifically this one, the Chiron Supersport 300 plus, 1600 horsepower. You can trace Bugatti's engine back to a few random concept cars from the VW group in the early 2000s, but it managed to wrestle itself into production with the 1000 horsepower Bugatti Veyron. It's always been an 8-litre engine, but the Bugatti engineers have tinkered with it throughout the years to push their cars' top speeds further and further. It started at 1000 horsepower in the standard Veyron, but simply by turning up the boost, it was up at 1200 in the Veyron Supersport. Then came the Chiron that took those 4 turbos and changed them to be sequential turbos, so 2 small ones and 2 big ones. That meant it could create 1500 horsepower. Then they did the same thing, turned up the boost, and you have the 1600 horsepower in the 300 plus that propelled this car to 304 miles an hour. Weirdly, it's not an official record because Bugatti didn't turn the car around and do the same thing in the other direction and then take the average. They did 304 miles an hour one way and then called it quits. Bit of an odd one, that. A shout out has to go to the track-only Bugatti Bolide that technically has the ultimate version of this 16-cylinder, up at 1825 horsepower. This thing, with that engine and the lightened brand new race car chassis, is the answer to the internet's question of what happens if you made a proper Bugatti race car. There it is, what a thing. Our motorsport shout out, you have to dig deeper into the annals of history to find the Lotus 43 that had BRM's H16 engine in it. It's an absolute monster of an engine because what it is essentially 2 V8s laid flat on top of one another and then connected through a gearing system. It was quite powerful but also incredibly unreliable. This was actually my second ever video on the internet. Look at that engine and that hair. What engine or car from this video would you like to see me take a deeper dive into on the channel? Tell me in the comments below. Remember, what's for you won't go by you. Subscribe for more content like this and I'll see you in the next one.